this is Lily and Ulrike, and we're carrying on this discussion of archaism in early Roman art, early imperial Roman art, with two examples here, one Roman, one Greek. Mr. Kahn mentioned briefly in his video about the Archaistic Apollo, and that this was a phenomenon that happened in the early imperial period under Augustus, where Romans were really trying to link themselves visually to an earlier period. So looking 6 centuries back to archaic and early classical Greek models. And so we'll see a little bit about that right now. Ulrike, do you want to start?
Yes, so here again we have another object which is in the so-called archaistic style, which Mr. Kahn referred to in his last video. And this time it's a relief. And here we have the head of a god, obviously. So there's, for example, a very good parallel in the Metropolitan Museum in New York, where you have nearly the whole figure. And in that example, it's a Hermes. So we don't know whether this is a Hermes because this is an idealized type which was used for different gods, like it could also be a Zeus or Jupiter, because we are in the Roman time already, but also a Neptune or Poseidon, Greek name. And yes, again here you see what Mr. Kahn called coldness, like coldness. It's a very severe expression, and the way the hair, for example, is done here, it's a typical manneristic way of doing the hairstyle. And we will see when we discuss this head that there is a big difference between these different ideas of representing the hairstyle. And I'd also like to mention the provenance, which is very good. It comes again from the Dahn collection, Professor Dahn from Lausanne, and he bought it in 1953. So yeah, maybe you can join me.
I think just looking at in profile, there are certain similarities that stand out right away. So of course this is a Greek original, so coming from the early classical period around 460 BC. And stylistically, there are certain differences that we can discuss later, but you do see the same theme. This is a bearded god. He has long hair, although in this case it's gathered at the temples and cropped in the back. And this is an example of a Herm. And the god Hermes was made in this mode, so just as a head inserted on a rectangular plinth with a phallus. And this was really made to denote boundaries. So all around Athens, all around Attica, Herms, such as this one, were placed at regular intervals to mark these boundaries, really. So one difference I think that you can see right away, although this is a bearded god, and you have to get quite close to see it, so sorry. But the hair is really sprouting organically from the flesh, and it almost in this doughy way. So the locks are rendered as sort of spirals, but also individually rendered. And of course, when you can see them coming out of the cheeks, it's really, I don't know how to say it.
It's done in layers, for example.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a more graphic style. It's like painted. So and that's what makes it so manneristic, in my opinion. And this is much more organic. It could be really, it's really like in layers, as I said, and it's overlapping very carefully the band. Whereas here we have also the band, but it's
right. This
it's not the
here.
it's not the same. It's really coming
There's
out.
something very plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think the best parallels would be the Temple of Zeus at Olympia on one of the pediments. So these thick locks with intermittent drilling. And even the kind of fleshiness of the features to the lips and the heavy eyelids. It's really just top quality. It's one of, I think, the biggest masterworks in our collection.
Yeah,
do you agree?
It's one of our best pieces, I would say too. And it's also difficult to say this is nicer than the other, because it's the taste. So if you prefer much more organic. In a much more organic way of representing a head or a human figure. This is a very fine example, but this is also a very nice example if you really want to have a good example for this retrospective, which Lily talked about and which Mr. Kahn talked about in his videos. So we hope that you could follow our explanations, and we are really looking forward to hear your opinion about it, and also what you think about the difference, or do you see the difference? And so yeah, please don't hesitate to contact us for any further questions, opinions, whatever. We are reachable via email like always. So we are really looking forward to getting in contact with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.